With the power of AI, you can make your marketing come alive. Just with a few clicks of a button, you can turn a marketing campaign from good to great. Join us for the revolution. With artificial intelligence, let's make your marketing come to life. CEOcoffee.com.
Welcome to the Koffe Brown Show, where we stir up conversations as rich as your morning coffee.
What's popping? What's good? What's crack-a-lacking, everybody? Welcome to this week's edition of the Koffe Brown Show. I am here with all the menses tonight. Got all the menses.
Come through, menses.
Come through, menses. What's popping, fellas? What's good with you?
You got your usual suspects here.
As usual.
The usual suspects, for sure. How has the week been for you guys? What's popping in your world?
So far, everything has been lovely. As I was mentioning when we was in the back office or the backstage, getting back on my grind, working out. I've been pretty much working out every day, hitting the sauna pretty much every other day since Sunday, man. Been feeling a lot better.
Okay, come on with the workouts.
And I had a blessing because we had a table read this weekend, and I got upgraded from one role to another one. That's a larger role, and that's the one I actually auditioned for in the first place. So, you know, feeling pretty blessed, man. Enjoying life right now.
Relations on that.
Hold up. Got to be, you know, corporate for a second. There we go. Got that out in the system. The little bit of silliness.
You had to do it.
Yeah, I did. I feel better now. Thank you.
It must be done. How has your week been?
Yeah, Vincent.
Oh, my week's been good, man. First off, I woke up every day. Hey,
that's a good point.
Daddy, you know, got a few little small little projects I've been working on. Coming off of Valentine's Day, very good because we didn't talk about it. Hope everybody Valentine's Day was good.
Okay.
Yeah, man, and just excited to be back with the viewers, man.
That's what's up. That is what's up. Yeah, you were telling us about that exotic dessert place.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yes.
Yeah, that's definitely one I recommend. It's called
We Exotic Desserting?
Golden
Exotic Desserting.
It's called Beautiful Fruit. And they take white chocolate, they shake it. Hey, Jay, you don't have Jay. Trust me, you don't have to.
I didn't say what first came to my mind. You know, we got to keep everything corporate. I was just like,
you don't have to go. Trust me.
You don't have to say nothing. Your face told. Oh my God.
It'll be more for me. So don't worry about it.
Oh no, I'm not complaining. I'm just saying when you said the name, I was like, oh.
Oh my God. Your whole face was like.
I didn't name it. All I know is I took the boys and it was great. They loved it. And not only did they do fruit, they got it's a roastery, so they roast coffee beans, they roast legumes. If you don't know what that means,
legumes.
Yes, those are almonds, cashews, things like that.
Okay.
And and they make fresh desserts, man. They're not overly sweet; they're natural. Because I had a fruit bar that had fresh roasted cashews, almonds, pistachios, shredded coconut, and honey. And man, it was great.
Well, you said you took your son, so I mean, I guess it's not weird to go, outside of being in a relationship. So when are all of us going? That sounded good.
It sounded like a whole field trip.
Right, that did sound good. Sounded great, actually.
Hey, maybe that's what we ought to start doing is pulling up and doing the show at certain locations.
A whole podcast, just make it happen right there.
Yeah.
That is too funny.
Hey, it's
Gonzo styles. Just show up and do it.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. I love it. So welcome into this week's edition of the Koffe Brown Show, everybody. Hope everybody is having a fantastic week and things are going really, really great with you and your family. Well, today I had the awesome opportunity to be on a Zoom with Kevin Trudeau. And
oh, really?
Yes. Oh my goodness. I was like, Kevin Trudeau. It was bananas. So like right before this show, I was on the Zoom with him and it was just, oh man, it was it was awesome. For those of you that don't know Kevin Trudeau, look him up. He is a billionaire several times over, and he made his first millions in the 1970s. So this dude has been on one for a long, long time. And so I'm looking into becoming part of his community and all of the things. So I'm super excited about it. It was a great opportunity to be on there. And today, Jason, I didn't get in the trade early. I got in the trade right on time.
Oh, good.
That's my take profit.
Yeah. As we spoke earlier, yeah, I jumped in a couple of them and tapped out on one, even though I still made a little profit and definitely hit on the other one. So kudos to us too. How about
Yes,
that? And to
kudos.
any other traders out there, if you hit TP, kudos, man. Keep it up.
Kudos to our whole community. We have no
Right.
community. If you're interested in opening, you want to learn more, and you want to get involved, oh man, hit us up, myself or Jason. We can help you get set up, all the things,
Yep.
and get ready to rock and roll with us, man. It's amazing. It is not direct sales. Let me make sure I say that it's not direct sales. It's just an opportunity for you to be in a community where you can grow together, develop it. So like 400 or 500 of us together every single morning. The goal is to hit 4,000 by the end of the year, where we're all trading together every single day. So this is exciting.
And to reiterate, it's not direct sales.
Not
It is
direct
a community. I
sales.
know that term, some people get scared when they get a thing of what they trying to get me in.
They're trying to
If you're
put me in.
interested, you can get into a community to learn, and that's actually more of my
Yeah.
speed.
Yes.
For anybody who knows me, I've been in and out of direct sales, but more of my speed is just not having to approach people randomly and stuff.
Right. Facts. Facts.
That's just me.
And don't think, you guys, just because he said that, it doesn't mean that like you have to do
Oh, I'm
that.
not being negative. Yeah, nothing negative.
He's giving out information about his specific journey. That's
Correct. Correct. I don't have anything negative to say about any of these industries. I mean, you can definitely get in and learn.
I tell you what, one thing I can say definitely for real about direct sales is the personal development is priceless.
Ooh, I agree.
I mean, you will not go to a corporate America job and they do personal development. Period. It's not gonna happen. You'll never have that kind of development in a traditional environment. So it does do something to support your future, not just with that industry necessarily, but your future as a human being. Like Jason was alluding to it earlier, talking about Houghton Bugs earlier, who was definitely a multimillionaire in that industry and the teachings that he gave. So nonetheless, thinking of that, just from that vein, last week we were talking about partnerships and collaborations. Over the past few weeks, that's what we had been focusing on. And we were talking about the impact of different types of leadership and how it can impact your journey and the things that happen to you as far as future is concerned. And so this week we're coming up to the dialogue about the implementation aspect. A lot of people aspire to do this, that, and the third. However, they struggle with execution, having that thing actually implemented. It takes courage to implement something that came from a dream or a vision that you have. It takes courage. It's not something that's easy. Years ago when I first started my journey in the publishing industry, it took courage to pick up the phone and ask people to participate. Hey, you want to write with me? You want to do a project with me? It took courage to be able to do that. And that courage has gone on for 10 years now. We're getting ready to spearhead a new project coming up for the summer this year.
Nice.
But in order to do that, it takes courage. And it takes not only self-belief, it takes belief in the product that you offer, the service that you offer, your ability to give people to, like Jason said one week, a few weeks ago, not to meet expectations, but to be able to exceed expectations. So let's get into this topic tonight. Let's get into it. So, there's a huge difference between dreaming and doing. What does that really look like? Somebody says, well, oh, I got this vision and yada, yada, yada. What's the real difference between dreaming and actually doing that execution?
Well, if you that's an open-ended question, and I would definitely say the action that you put behind it. I
Hmm.
mean, a dream is just a dream, it's just a thought. It doesn't start to become an action until you write it down. And then
Hmm.
it starts to become a goal, right? So it starts as a dream, then it starts to become a goal. And you want to write down obtainable goals so that way as you continue to hit the goals, you're building momentum. You don't want to just start here with a dream and then just go there,
Right.
right? You want to start putting in goals that you can hit. And then from there, you got to put the action behind it. You've heard us say a couple of weeks ago, I wasn't here last week, unfortunately, I was traveling, but you heard us say a few weeks ago, and you hear us say pretty frequently on here, is to make yourself uncomfortable.
Hmm. Hmm.
So with that action, you have to make yourself uncomfortable. And that's that growing that you just heard Coffee talking about, that you do get in the direct sales market if you're open to that you don't normally get with the corporations, is that you will get that, you start learning that knowledge to continue putting the action behind it and grow.
Right. That training is priceless. And
Very priceless.
you mentioned a word, and I'm going to give it over to Vincent. Momentum. Momentum.
Momentum. Mm-hmm.
Being able to get in there and say, okay, I have this dream, I have this aspiration, I have this goal, and I have started putting wheels in motion. So
Mm-hmm.
when you think about momentum, how do you literally keep that up? If you really think about, if you really have a dream, a goal, an aspiration, and you have all these building blocks to see it come to pass, what are some keys that you need to have in order to keep that momentum up?
Well, you know what, Coffee? I'm glad you said that. Because see, here's the thing: you can dream it, but here's the thing: if you don't move with purpose, just because you're moving, don't mean that you're moving. You could
Mm-hmm.
be moving just to say I'm doing something or I'm going in a direction, but you're spinning your wheels. It's called burnout. So as you move, you need to move strategically. Sometimes an inch can be later on a mile or even more, but it's how you move. You see, sometimes you can be all over the place, so you have to take the time to, as you're dreaming, like Jason said, you put this down on paper, and you don't rush your process because guess what? With anything of quality, it takes time, and I think a
Mm-hmm.
lot of times some people, in amongst certain communities, I'm grinding, I'm doing this. Yeah, you're doing a lot of movement, but you're not going nowhere
Mm-hmm.
because you don't take the time to structure your your process. Your momentum is momentum, but guess what? There's also, it can go forward or it can go back. So what kind of
Yep.
momentum are you trying to do?
Because you're
And
going
that
to
takes,
move one way or the other.
yeah. It
Mhm.
takes time, man. And with that, you said something earlier, right? When you first started, you were reaching out to people. Guess what? You were strategic with who you were asking, right? You
Correct.
didn't just
Mm-hmm.
you didn't just ask anybody. And with that, from that movement, you put everything else together.
Hmm.
In, in my mind, there's a lot of people. They do a lot of talking. Don't talk about it, be about it. You can come up with all these wonderful ideas, but where is your initiative to follow it through with the consistency?
Mm-hmm.
If you
Honestly,
don't
you
have any,
said, go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, you can go, Jay.
No, no, no. I was just going to reiterate what you were saying and hit on it, because that was something I should have said, not just action, but you definitely have to have purpose behind that action and moving in a certain direction. If you follow any multimillionaires and you listen to them talk, you'll normally hear them say things like, if you're not moving forward, then you're moving backwards. Regardless of what you think, the world is still moving. So even if you're not moving, you're still not stagnant. You're not in one spot. So either you're moving forward or you're moving backwards. And it's funny that you were saying what you that moving with purpose. And actually, a lot of people are putting action behind things, but if they're not moving with purpose, then what I like to say is you're just busy being busy.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
You're
You
moving.
all over the
Yeah,
place.
that's my statement for it. You're busy being busy. So every time you turn around, you're moving, you're shaking, you're doing this, you're doing that, you're doing this, you're doing that. But if you're not moving with any real purpose, especially towards that goal, then yeah, you're just being a busybody. You're not doing anything else. You may as
Yeah,
well just go to the gym and exercise.
you satisfying your anxiousness
Correct.
to at least do something
Mm-hmm.
so you won't feel stagnant. So guess
Speak
what?
on it.
Let me do it.
Yep.
Sound good? Okay. Guess what? If that's the case, some of these multimillionaire and billionaires wouldn't be where they are if they were just moving all over the place. They move
Correct.
with a purpose. They're very thorough in how they move in the selections of things that they put their efforts in. Just like
Mm-hmm.
look at that show Shark Tank.
Mhm.
If you listen how they question those guys or whoever comes on there with these inventors, they're very thorough. They are not just jumping at whatever spiel that they're pitching to them. Because guess what? If it doesn't sound right, if it doesn't if the thought process not there, why would I invest in you? Why would I push you? Because you didn't take the time to move with purpose to get a quality product. Why should I move?
Very
And I
true.
position myself to get where I'm at based on moving with purpose, moving with some actual knowledge and actual research and actual time behind me when I move. So guess what? It's like a chessboard. The king can move once. Guess what? That one move, it can change everything, or it can go the other way. So you have to be strategic when how you move. And I think a lot of times, some processes that people think or use, that's why they don't get where they are, because you know what? This is not thought out enough. And then having what's the word I'm looking for? Having a circle to help you move with purpose. Because you can't do everything yourself. You have to have some other people to pick your brain to talk to help you while you're moving.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Nobody is self-made.
yeah, but a lot of people say they proclaim to be self-made. No, you're not. You're not
Yeah,
beyond.
you gotta have a team.
Yes, you have to, man, because a wise person has wise counsel.
Mm-hmm.
Follow what I just said. Wise people have wise counsel. Now they might not always tell you who's on that council or who they brain they pick, but guess what? Koffe, what did you say earlier? Who you was on a park on a
Kevin
group
Trudell.
chat with? Okay, guess what? That's wise counsel
Mhm.
for you. That shows you're obviously this person knows what they're doing. So guess what? I'm going to seek knowledge from them to help me fine tune or hone my processes on where I
Mhm.
want to be and what I want to be.
Mhm.
Amen.
Facts. Well, Dr. Shamika, not the doctor, is in the comments. She is in class right now.
Doctor, you're in the
She
comments.
is in class right now.
Well, you just like you mentioned, she's in class, so she's learning
Yes.
something. She's improving. She's doing something to move in a certain direction. So I mean, just like we were just saying.
Jay, you
Yes.
just said something
You're
just really groundbreaking just now.
What's that?
And the Coffee, tell me if I'm right with the podcast or what. I don't know. Not the group me that you was on.
Uh-huh.
Did he hint around never stop learning?
Oh my God. He was going on and on about 99,000 books. Like he was spitting
Mm-hmm.
them out like water. Like boom,
Mm-hmm.
bam, bow.
And
Oh
that's
yeah,
what people talk about. So guess what?
absolutely.
If you
Absolutely.
want, you have to be a life learner.
Right.
If you're
Right.
not steady learning, guess what, Jay? You are being stagnant.
You're
Right.
right.
So
Or at
guess
least you
what?
think you're being stagnant. You're getting left behind.
That learning that you're doing, you're moving forward. It's just
Mhm.
you're not moving how you want to move.
Right. Facts. Facts. So let me thinking about this with the momentum and the goals and the aspirations and the dreams and the visions and things of that nature. With all of that being said, why is it that people struggle so much to get past inspiration? Why do they have such a struggle after they get inspired? What really happens in between the inspiration and the time of manifestation? If I get inspired, I'm excited, I got this download and yada yada yada. What really happens through that time that prohibits them from manifesting.
Doubt,
Fear,
trauma,
doubt.
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
and
That's
then
three of them right there. Doubt,
yeah,
trauma, fear.
Yeah.
a lot of times,
And I would go, while those things are true, I think a lot of other things come into play. And one thing in particular is creating an environment to be able to execute. If you think about it, I was talking to someone the other day and she made a comment about wanting to fulfill her aspirations and goals, yet having to give so much of her time and talent to corporate America. She was like, I'm working 70, 80 hours a week, which doesn't afford me a lot of liberty to be able to, get into the thick of things for my own vision, the things that I want to see come to pass. And she was just sharing on how you have to make a decision and a choice to say, I'm going to make sure this happens. Something is going to have to give while I make sure that this happens. So, I don't think God like sits there and he says, you know what, I'm not going to give Coffee this drink because she got that, and that going on. I'm not going to give her that drink. No. When it comes to you, you got to figure out how to find a way to get it done. I think a lot of
Hmm.
people, because they're not a part of a group or a community or individuals that can propel them forward, they get lost somewhere in, I got the download, but I don't have the support system, so I don't even know where to start. I was telling somebody else too, I said a lot of things happen as a result of us just not taking our own specific initiative. I was saying how you got apps like Perplexity and ChatGPT and all these other things that you can literally plug in information and it just spits out all these particular sources or avenues and things like that in order for you to be able to execute. And I think a lot of times the reason why people go from inspiration to non-manifestation is because they don't want to do all of the work in between to see it come to pass. If you
Hmm.
really think about it, it's easy to get up and go to somebody else's position in somebody else's organization because they didn't already
Yep.
do all the work. They've done everything. All you're doing is making sure the machine keeps going. That's it.
you know what
And
people
what if you use that same discipline, but for yourself?
Right. Right.
You
also,
brought up something, if you
And
don't mind me. Go ahead.
you have a minimal amount of time, you can get maximum results.
Right.
If you really think about it, let's be honest. I know some people are not going to agree with this, but it's a very real thing. They've done a lot of studies, and in my master's program, we had a lot of conversations surrounding this. They've done all these studies about the amount of work that people have been able to do in a shortened period of time, not being inside of a traditional office environment, right?
Hmm.
So if you think to yourself, well, now that I'm not in a traditional office environment, I'm able to refrain from distractions. It's major distractions in the office. Think about it. You got your bestie at the office, your best buddy, yada yada yada. You chopping it up with them. You go on to talk to them. Next thing you know, it's a whole hour that's passed, or it's
Hmm.
30, 45 minutes, right? Well, if you're working from home, you don't have bestie in your face.
Hmm.
You don't have the same level of distractions, which in turn can help you to be able to identify more windows of time for you to be able to execute without coming in without being ineffective in your office requirements. You get all
Hmm.
of that stuff done. You're way past your deadlines. You got everything in line and all the things that are required of you handled and addressed. How powerful is it for you to be able to, take that lunch break instead of like physically going to lunch because you're at the house, right? You can eat
Hmm.
in your home office thing. You ain't got to have no real your hour. You can take that hour lunch and take that hour time to execute on your dreams. You're logged
Hmm.
out of work. You're not at work. You completely logged out. You're on your own time. You can take that hour that you normally would have taken to, go out of the office to go to a restaurant, do this, yada, 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 yada,
Hmm.
yada. And you can utilize that same time to be able to do something magnificent. That gives you at least 5 hours in the week to execute. At least 5.
I would say this, Koffe.
Mm-hmm.
I agree, but I disagree. I'm gonna tell you why.
Mm-hmm.
If that was true, you wouldn't have people who reach out to others for this creative inspiration. See, it depends. You need to. It needs to be a healthy balance.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you always locked in by yourself, you have nothing to feed off of.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes a distraction can give you some of the best resource for inspiration. That's where the creativity comes in because Jason
Well,
says it all the
that
time.
doesn't
He
constitute as
like,
a
man, I gotta get out of this house sometime. Remember,
Yeah.
Jay?
Yeah, I go sit in the backyard with the dogs.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, but that doesn't constitute as a distraction. If it's inspiration, that's not a distraction.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that adds to what it is your actual desired outcome is.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about, when I talk about distractions, I'm saying things that we call it empty hours. You can't account for it. There's nothing to account for. You can't say that there was any productivity attached to it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about, people can literally, one thing, I'll give you a perfect example.
Mm-hmm.
When we were in our master's cohort and we were doing all our research and pulling up sources and things, they said one of the biggest inspirations that has happened in America is podcasting, period. A lot of people have found that has given them a lot of tools, tips, and strategies to be able to execute, to literally be able to execute, to be able to do the things that they really wanted to do when before they weren't able to have the time to even connect into a podcast. Because you think about it, if you're in the office, you can't have your headphones in. They're going to be looking at you like, you got your headphones in, especially in most environments, not all. Some environments you can be inside your cubicle, whatever. But for the most part, a lot of leaders would not want you to be having headphones and all this kind of stuff on, because they're like, you're not paying attention to what's going on here. They want you to stay engaged with them, with the in-office environments. But a lot of people, and that's how so many podcasts have been birthed since the pandemic ensued. So many, I mean, like millions of podcasts have come out since that time. Like, it's bananas. You can find
that isolation. It was the isolation.
Yeah.
People found out that sometimes being in chaotic environments help you focus, because guess what? You're trying your best not to pay attention to it. Whereas when you're at home, solitude and just being where you could control the environment all the time, it's no motivation there, because one, you tend to drift off, you tend to not be able to focus, because like with me, I can't stay in a quiet room. It drives me bananas because my mind.
I'm having a challenge now.
I'm so used to being and hearing white noise. Like when I sleep at night, I have to turn the fan on so I can hear. If it's quiet, man, my mind gets to going 10,000 miles.
Mm-hmm.
So I need to be able to cancel out to focus. Think about it. When you're working out, you put on music in your head to what? Cancel out and focus on what you're doing. So some of that distraction can help you somewhat focus. Now, it's a difference between healthy distractions and then just downright just it's nothing productive other than you interfering with what I'm trying to do. Like you said something, and it makes no sense to me. If I'm in the office, I'm doing my work. Why can't I have my headphones on and I'm still working?
Right.
Why do I have to hear every conversation?
Right.
For what?
Right.
If you need to talk to me, guess what? It's a tap.
Yep, come tap me on the shoulder.
Yeah, hey man, what's going on? Blah 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 blah. Because you know what? In my mind, if I see somebody with headphones in, hey man, they locked in. They're focused. But that's just my mindset.
I'm the same way.
Some people don't view it that way.
Right.
You want to hear something funny? Full disclosure. I'm the same way. If it's too quiet, like it is in my house right now, I have a tendency to drift off. I have a very short attention span. I wish I could turn my phone around right now, but I'm actually doing work for my job while I'm talking to y'all because it's helping me stay focused on this conversation. I know to some people that sounds crazy to them, but if you look at my eyes, you see me kind of doing this because whenever it gets too quiet, I drift off somewhere else. I can be looking at this camera and just drift off. You'll ask me a question, and I won't have a clue to what it is that you asked me. Because my attention span works like that. I have to do something while I'm doing something.
See, and that's another thing that people have to realize about themselves. You have to really study yourself to understand how you're wired, how you function, what makes you function at your best and highest use. Excuse me, what causes you to really be able to lock into something for a long period of time. Because when you really think about the whole idea of being successful, it is relative, right? It's relative, but we all can agree that fiscal freedom, financial freedom is a aspect of success, period. Not having to be concerned about day-to-day responsibilities and things of that nature. We would deem that as having attained a certain level of success. Now, what that looks like for every person is significantly different, but we all can agree that there has to be some type of work attached to getting to that level. And not only getting there, but to maintain it. You can't just get there. You have to be able to stay there. And you have to know yourself. You have to, the saying is very true, to thine own self be true. You got to be true to yourself. You got to figure out, hey, listen, what really makes me function? What is the best thing? What is the absolute best environment for me to be able to thrive and grow? It's like a plant. You think about a plant. Somebody sent me for Valentine's Day, they sent me this rose bush, right? And so I was kind of like reading up on it. I was like, well, how am I supposed to keep this thing alive? Right. And it talked about how it had to be in a high light lit area, natural light. It had to have a lot of natural light. So I was looking around and trying to figure out, I said, well, where is the place in my property where there's the most natural light, where I can be comfortable. Like if I'm away for a week or something, I can be comfortable with a certain level of opening. You know what I mean? Like light coming in and having maybe like a blind open or something like that, right? So where can I put this plant in order to make sure this plant thrives and grows? Because I got to make sure that I honor what it requires. And that's something that's important that we need to understand about ourselves, is honoring what is required. Because the same way, if I just closed all of the blinds and left and there was no sunlight attached to that bush, then it's not going to grow. When I come back, it's going to be dead. And that's the same way that we are. We have to understand and know what makes us thrive, what makes us grow, what is our best well-lit environment to where we can have that light on our lives to be able to get where we want to go. What communities do we need to be a part of? What investments do we need to make in ourselves? What relationships do we need to detach ourselves from? What communication do we need to refrain from having, and so on and so forth. We have to ask ourselves a myriad of questions, and then the bigger question would be, what is it that I know I do not want? That I know without a shadow of a doubt I do not want. And then you got to ask yourself, what is it that I know I have to have? So all these series of questions, have to go on in order for us to be able to make those well-informed decisions and be able to do the things that are within our best interest if we intend to truly thrive and be able to execute and get things done that we know we want to see happen.
First off, you got to be able to be able to be honest with yourself and ask those hard questions.
Right.
A lot of people don't, because see, guess what? Same way in relationships. A lot of people don't want to feel that they can always do better in their relationship. So therefore, they do not want the questions asked. Therefore, they avoid them because it makes them feel like And a lot of times, and this is being honest, they're afraid to ask the questions because of who it's coming from and who it's about. So
Hmm.
therefore, that same how can I say self-created trauma, so to speak, they transfer it into themselves. So they doubt themselves instead of asking, okay, what do I like? What do I need to do? What do I need to hone? Where do I need to position myself? And a lot of that comes from that. They're afraid. They're afraid to ask it. They're afraid to bring them up.
You need to learn your star player, man. Cat Williams used to say that in his comedies. You got to take care of your star player, and you got to be willing to be different. Does that make sense? You got
Mm-hmm.
to figure out what works for you. Like Vincent was talking about some things that work for him. I was talking about a few things that work for me. Like I said, I like to be transparent and I don't care about being embarrassed about certain things. I know how my mind works. I'm in the middle of a podcast with you two in a very in-depth conversation. I got two screens behind me with Excel files on them and working. This is the other thing that I can show you that's going on my cell phone that's right below the other phone that I'm looking at right now on this podcast. There's three different things going on with an in-depth conversation. That works for me. That would probably drive somebody else crazy. Like Vincent was talking about earlier, when I go into the office, most of the time I have a headset on or I'm in an actual office and I'll have a podcast or something playing in the background that I'm
Hmm.
comfortable with that doesn't take my attention too far away from what it is that I'm doing. Like if I'm at the house and I'm working and I have a hard time focusing, I'll put a TV show on that I've seen millions of times. That way I can listen to it and not
Mm-hmm.
have to watch it. Does that make sense what I'm saying? It's
Mm-hmm.
just that white noise, that background noise that's going on, but it'll normally be an action flick or something because I need something moving or something happening.
Hmm.
If I sit still too long, I'm going to sleep. There's been times I've been in meetings at work and I've fallen asleep 2 seats down from our CEO. Not a good look. You see what I'm saying? So you got to try to figure out what it is that works for you, but
Mm-hmm.
you have to do the work to figure it out for you.
Right.
If that makes sense, what it is that I'm saying.
Yeah,
Right.
it makes full sense, man. You need to do the heavy lifting,
Hmm.
and that's spending time self-reflecting. And not self-reflecting, only focusing in on the good things. You need to focus on the bad things too, because a lot of your growth
Yes,
comes from perfecting your imperfections.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's perfect, man. And if you really want to be the best version of yourself, you need to sit back and look at those things where you have the shortcomings.
Mm-hmm.
I one thing that I make sure I 100% do all the time is I make a conscious effort to watch everything I say, especially to my significant other. I watch what I say because once it comes out, it's put out there in the universe.
very
You can't
true.
take that back. Oh, I was tired. I was this. I had a long day. Nobody wants to hear that, man.
Hmm.
You were too tired to let whatever you said fly out your mouth.
Ooh, good point. Keep going. I like it.
So you got to be strategic in those things.
Hmm.
And I know a lot of times it's men and a lot of women tell men this that you don't listen. You're not hearing me. Do you understand why I was this? And I started thinking about it. Like, you know what? Maybe if I make a conscious effort not to go get upset because maybe she said I did this or your boss said you did that, and really listen and hear where they're coming from, they may actually have a point. But that's
Mm-hmm.
the thing. You need to know the difference between somebody who is trying to help you and then somebody who is trying to down you, to
Mm-hmm.
nitpick.
Hmm.
It's a difference.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying, guess what? If you feel that person is not in your corner and they throwing slugs at you, guess what? You got the right. Okay, you know what? Let me go and flip this switch right quick. Because
Mm-hmm.
okay, now let me make sure I got you correct before I get upset. This is what I'm thinking in my mind. Let me hear what you have to say. Make sure I heard you right, that I did not misunderstand. So guess what? With this misunderstanding approach that I sent your way, you'll
Mm-hmm.
know why. It was very thought out because
Mm-hmm.
you said exactly what you meant, and guess what? You meant it.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, I make sure I'm more quick to listen and slow to move.
Vincent, well, Coffee was talking earlier, and I kind of cut in earlier, but I didn't want to interrupt it. And when I was trying to make sure we didn't go too far away from this particular point, but it was something that Coffee said earlier, and I think this is probably a good time to kind of interject and bring this point back up. You was talking about, both of y'all was talking about, I guess in some words, kind of going off the island, making sure that you understand what it is that you need and, make sure that you're moving in a certain direction. Coffee, you brought up a very good point when you was talking about the young lady. And you said that she's, divulging so much time into her career at work that she doesn't have time for entrepreneurial or any other things that she wants to do, sometimes putting in 60, 70 hours.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I would like to ask. How did you get there?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The reason I say that, and this again, I've been there at other jobs to where I find myself traveling 60 to 80% of the time. I'm always on the road. I got a family at the house, but I'm here, I'm there, and I'm not a trucker. You see what I'm saying? So I'm like always on the road. I'm leaving every Monday, coming back sometime between Wednesday and Friday in the middle of the darn night, and everything else. So to that young lady, if you are listening or whatever, maybe have a conversation with her. How did you get there? Because I've had other friends that are like, oh, I'm always at work. I'm putting in 50 hours and everything else. But I was like, have you got paid more? They're like, no. And I'm like, cool. How did you get there?
Mm-hmm.
You keep putting more and more and more time into this thing, hoping that something else happens. And at some point, you're drained. You feel used. All of your time is going there. Your family at the house now feels disrespected because all of your time is going to over here. You're busy being busy. You know what I'm saying? You're always tired, always got a headache, always got a this, always got a that. How did you get there? Now,
Mm-hmm.
granted, you can make changes. You can definitely say, you know what? I'm not going to do the bare minimum, but I'm not going to go well above and beyond because I haven't gotten very much from it, right? In
Mm-hmm.
terms of losing my family and friends or not being able to do this other project that I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
You may not be able to do it at your current job because you've been there for so long working at that particular pace. But if you did start somewhere else, that's a good time to make that change and not do the same darn thing that you was doing before. That goes whether you're at your job, that whether it's your relationship or whatever else. If you're not taking care of your star player, which is you, then you can't basically pour into anybody else. You're
Mm-hmm.
giving somebody else all of your time and your energy, and basically they're just leeching off of you in some form or fashion.
You just said what we were talking about earlier, and this fits what you're saying, Jason.
Mm-hmm.
It was self-made.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Self-inflicted, man. I mean, I guarantee you that young lady started out working 30, 40 hours a week. Saw an opportunity. They leaned on her a little bit more. She saw an opportunity to step in and help with a challenge or whatever the company was having. The problem is that she started working at that pace and now it became an expectation of her, if that makes sense. So now you've shown me a new pace that you can work and you never changed it up. So now every time you're working, I expect this. Then she stepped it up again. So now that's the new norm. Then she stepped it up again. So that's the new norm. So now she's probably working here and the rest of the people are working here. So they're going home to their spouses, their entrepreneurial things, their kids' games, whatever else. And she's gotten herself in a routine where she's working here. So, sweetheart, if you're listening, you're going to have to try to find a way to kind of slowly get that back and get your life back. Because if you're giving all of your life, okay, I'll tell you what, before I even go down that road, this is what I'll say. This is the mindset. If you was to quit your job, Lord forbid, if something happened to you medically or whatever else, and you couldn't work for a month or whatever, or if you quit your job, would your company, true or false, have a job wreck out within about a week, if not a couple of days? If the answer to that is yes, get your life together. Focus on yourself. Do what you need to do, but focus on yourself and your health and everything else that you got going on. If in your heart, in your mind, you know that if you was to walk away from that job, they'd have a job wreck out in the next couple of days. Because I know I had a coworker, she thought she was hot stuff. And I mean, she was kind of like, well, I'm not getting what I want. I'm gonna leave over here. At my current company, she left, and within 2 days, they had a wreck out to replace her.
Yep.
If that's the case, then you need to make some changes in your life.
Most organizations, that you have to kind of really pay attention to how they deal with their actual staff.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people have been burdened with a lot of responsibility, but they never show that they have a level of overwhelm, or what is being asked of them is too much. So
Correct.
they just keep doing it and doing it and doing it. And because they keep doing it and don't want to have to deal with the probability of it becoming a challenge, it makes the company to believe a level of falsehood in that this is sustainable, when in fact, over
Mm-hmm.
time, it's not sustainable. I was talking to somebody recently about a major thing called morale. I said, one thing that you got to think about, if on the path to freedom, is how to keep up morale. How do you make sure that that internal part of you is getting fed properly with the type of nutrients of love, joy, happiness, peace, fulfillment, enjoyment, optimism, all of the things. How are you making sure that that fuel tank is being filled up regularly? What is it that you're doing to make sure that your happiness tank is always on high, like that meter is always up? And it's not anybody else's responsibility. It's nobody's responsibility but you, to make sure that that meter stays up. But again, like we mentioned earlier with different other aspects, is you have to know what moves that needle. What
Mm-hmm.
moves that needle? Do you have a favorite park, or is it, time with your children or your spouse? Is it a specific type of food that you just absolutely enjoy? And when you eat this particular food, it contributes to your happiness. You got that little happy place food. Or if you have a pet, that pet adds value to you, in that when you have an opportunity to kick it with your pet and you're out throwing the ball with, little Bentley or whatever you call your pet, you have that level of fulfillment, and that enjoyment is right there with you. And that just keeps your level of morale up, because you got to make sure that in the bigger scheme of things, yes, you got to be in a community for sure. You got to be around people that support your dreams, your visions, and your endeavors. You got to have those co-dreamers with you, not just co-dreamers, but co-executors. You got to have those people around your life. And then you got to also understand your meter system. What really contributes to my happiness? What's going to really get me there? What's going to make me just be able to stay in this vein throughout all the highs and lows, like you were talking about earlier, the highs and lows and the ups and downs that will happen along this journey.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Another thing too is when you consider the fact that there will be significant obstacles that will arise. Like
Oh yeah.
one year I had like 4 or 5 deaths in my family. Like it was just ridiculous. It would seem like it was like every time I turn around, it was a call, somebody passed, somebody passed, somebody passed, somebody passed. And in that year, what I came to realize is that I had to pull on um, just identifying things that were right in the present moment that I could be grateful for. I had to just find a way to stay grateful. And that was the metric that I went by to keep my morale high, because if I didn't, it would have been to my, it would have caused me to have to revamp. It would have been too many things at stake that
Mm-hmm.
I needed to keep going. I didn't need to stop. I didn't need to quit. I needed to keep going, but I needed to keep going at a healthy pace, not a
Mm-hmm.
speed pace or nothing like that, just at a healthy pace. And that way I could keep my morale up, and at the same time continue to execute and still do what needed to be done
Mm-hmm.
without missing deadlines and things like that. Because you got to realize too, in this journey to bridge, between inspiration and execution, there's some
Mm-hmm.
things that are going to happen. They're inevitable. You can't control them. You can't stop them. You can't change if the battery dies in the car. Okay, the battery died. Ain't nothing you can do but just go get another battery, you
Yep.
know, just things
That's
like
it.
that. I mean, I know it's annoying because it's like, oh man, I gotta go get another, I gotta wait for this, I gotta go get that, yeah, this, all the things. Yeah, we get it. However, it's just a part of the inevitable process. But you've got to keep that meter up. You got to keep that joy meter up. Like, I'm grateful. I could have broke down on the side of the highway. However, it just didn't turn over at the house. The battery died when I was
Mm-hmm.
at home. Perfect conditions. I'm not out
Yep.
and about. I'm not on the
Mm-hmm.
side of the road. I didn't just go in the store and came out the car and turn over.
Mm-hmm.
You got to just find different ways to keep that gratitude meter up
Mm-hmm.
in the middle of the opposition and the obstacles, because they have to show up. It's a part of the universe's way of looking to see, are you sincere? Are you serious? Are you sure this is what you want to do? Are you really certain that this is the next level you want to take? And you have to be able to pursue through that. Let's talk about this. We're almost out of time. This has been a really, really, really good discussion, but I want to talk about accountability,
Mm.
and those measurable outcomes. You talked about goals earlier.
Mm-hmm.
When you talk about goals, there should be a metric that defines if that actually can be checked off or not.
Mm-hmm.
But there has to be some type of accountability attached to your process. Again, inspiration to execution. There has to be some type of accountability. What would you guys say is like the most has been one of the most important um things that you've done to be accountable? Is it where you had somebody specific that you were accountable to, or was it some type of system in place to where the system would tell you whether you're doing what you need to do or not? What was the metric that defined your being accountable?
You want to go, Jay?
Yeah, for me, it depends on the project. There's been definite times to where I've worked on projects where I was accountable to another individual.
Mhm.
There's been other times to where, and this is what I do more frequently, especially since I work at the house and I'm usually here by myself, is a small reward system type of deal, right? Say for
Mhm.
instance, okay, so I've been working on losing weight over the last year. I could have did a crash diet, lost 40 pounds in a month and a half, whatever. I've been doing small changes. Remember, I was talking about setting goals that are obtainable. I
Mhm.
started doing small changes because I didn't want to do a diet, because what ends up happening most of the time is that you do a diet, you hit your goal, you kind of keep with the diet, you slow down a little bit, and then 3, 4, 5, 6 months later, here comes the weight coming back because you're not in that same practice. So I
Mhm.
tried to, for me, my smaller goals were smaller changes, a little bit of intermittent fasting, smaller portions, watching what I eat a little healthier. So I didn't completely change my diet. I just started making little bitty small changes.
Mhm.
And because of that, over the last year, I've lost about 40 pounds. You know what I'm saying? 35, 40 pounds. And one of the biggest things is just getting up and being a little bit more active, especially on the weekends. Instead of sleeping in until 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I might get up at 10 o'clock and go to the park and walk 2.5 miles on
Mhm.
a beautiful day. You see
Mhm.
what I'm saying? But
Mhm.
I'm outside, I'm getting that oxygen, I'm getting the vitamin D. So I'm not just exercising, but I'm also getting the health benefits of being outside. You see
Mhm.
what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Now, remember, I was talking about small goals. So as I continue to reach smaller goals, maybe once a week I will go eat a big pizza. And actually, instead of eating 1 or 2 slices and walking away from it, I might eat four. But I won't make that a habit. You know what I'm saying? Is if I did good that week, I might do a little bit of this, and I'll make sure I get up the next morning and go work out. Or I might get a couple pieces of candy or something, right?
Mhm.
Because really and truly, anybody who wants to lose weight and get a little healthier, cut sugar out your diet. That's the number one thing. Cut it out your diet for the
Mhm.
Sugar
most part. Yeah, have a
and
little
bread.
bit every now and again, but those cravings you get is not
Mhm.
because you're hungry, it's because your body wants sugar.
Mhm. Mhm.
So for me, it was cutting a lot of the sugar out.
Mhm.
That was one of the biggest things. Seriously.
Mhm. Mhm.
So but having small attainable goals and hold yourself accountable, whether you give yourself a treat or you hold yourself accountable to another person. I rest the mic. I'm sorry. That was long-winded.
No,
I'm like,
no, that was
nah,
good.
it's
It
fine.
happens. My bad.
Hey, it's all good.
I was on my soapbox.
You know, like I kind of do the same thing. And then too, at some point, when it comes to accountability, it literally has to be an internal compass which says, I'm just gonna do it, period. I don't need no
Mm-hmm.
reward. I don't need nothing. This is just a part of what it is that I know I need to get done. And so because I know I need to get it done, I'm gonna make sure I execute it, period. This is something that I know if I don't do it at the end of the day, then the bigger picture is I won't get, to wherever that place is I deem as success. So of course that
Mm-hmm.
is a reward at some point, but nonetheless, just having that discipline to say, I'm gonna make sure I execute. Like for me, there's times where I won't go to the physical gym for weeks, but I
Mm-hmm.
still work out every day. I ain't gonna stop
Mm-hmm.
working out just because I'm not physically going to the gym. I'm not gonna let that be the catalyst that decides, let that be the deciding factor that, I gotta be at the gym. No, I don't have to be at the gym. I got equipment at my crib.
Mm-hmm.
So, I make it my business to exercise because I understand that this is something that for me it's like taking a shower. Whereas somebody else it may be a little bit more difficult, but it's like I took a shower. I gotta work out. I brush my teeth. I gotta work out. Those,
Mm-hmm.
in my brain, I've conditioned myself to just be accountable to myself, knowing that I want my tomorrows to be very, very solid as far as my health is concerned. And so, because I know that I want my tomorrows to be very solid, I know that today I gotta work out. Um, you know, and then just understanding that you've got to make the decisions, the hard decisions, and you got to be married to the hard decisions. It can't just always
Mm-hmm.
be the easy choice. It can't just always be the easy path. It's got to be a more difficult path. It may be something so much as you saying every single day, I know I have to read a certain amount of pages. Whether I want to or not, whether or not the day has been long and exhausting, no matter how much time I've given to everything else, I got to read a certain amount of pages. And just making those solid commitments to yourself can really help you to get to that place from inspiration to execution. Because over time, it's like anything else, it's going to become an innate part of who you are. Like
Mm-hmm.
for real. To the point where, like, I remember the other day, I made a commitment to do my reading. And I remember the other day was so crazy. Like, I tried to go to sleep. I could not go to sleep because I was like, I gotta go read. I gotta read.
Mm-hmm.
So you want it to be, so strong in your life that when you get that inspiration, when you get that download, when you get that information that you've been blessed with for whatever the project is or whatever, that emphatically that I'm going to get this done because like we've been talking about, I have a reward system in place. I have people that I can tie into. I have accountability partners that I'm accountable to, and I have somebody that I have to do this for. It's bigger than myself. That's
Mm-hmm.
one of the biggest things that can help you to get to execution is that it's not just for me, it's for somebody else is going to
Mhm.
be impacted by me getting these results.
Yeah.
Listen, we are at the top of the hour. This has been absolutely phenomenal, a great show. Truly enjoy the shares of our awesome panelists. Make sure to like, share, and follow them on all their social media. um, um, Awesome. Appreciate you, lady. Appreciate you. Um, it's just been a phenomenal conversation. Totally phenomenal conversation. Super, super excited about the opportunity to come in each and every week and share with you guys just the amazing things that we've been blessed with, right? Just the crazy, amazing information that we've been blessed with. On next week, we will not have a show. It is our off week. So we will not have a show on next week, but we will be back the first week of March. So until next time, we will see you guys for another edition of the P. Koffe Brown Show. Thank you so much for tuning in and tapping in. Remember, it would be no us without you. So thank you. Grace and peace until next time.
Understood. But you look amazing.
You don't look too bad yourself, birthday boy.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
You ready?
Whenever you want.
All right.